All right. Hello. We are live.
Hello.
Hi. Hey, Brian. How are you?
Doing great, Amy. How are you?
Excellent. I love your festive red tie and red shirt.
And lights and wow, look at that sweater. That sweater
Look at
is
this.
amazing.
Well, isn't it? And
Wow.
is just as hot as it is amazing too. So just saying, I can't wear this to any Christmas parties well, not that we're going to any anyway.
Can't go.
That,
exactly.
you're eating or consuming any alcohol because I'll probably explode. So
Yes.
But it's cool anyway. It's kind of fun to run around a store and people laugh at you. So that's what the ugly sweater's all about.
We got to have a little fun. It's funny. I had a corporate call with our director this past week, and one of the questions was, "What did you guys laugh about this year?" And I struggled to come up with something that I laughed about.
Right.
So let's have some fun.
Let's have some fun. 2020 was a tough year, and there's a lot of people struggling. We're in industries that are thriving, but I think as we end the year, we don't want to always make it negative. Positive things that really have come out of how we've quickly changed our business.
Yes.
It's amazing how much more time I spend here with my clients in my office, at home, or at the office.
Yep.
Prepping, so when we're together, that time of 3 hours is about 90 minutes, and it's fast because we're doing a lot of video calls, so much more. There's not even like that typical view home, stand on the driveway with mass discussion. Like, you just kind of quickly move on because you've done so much pre-work by the time you get into the market as a buyer or seller.
Yes. I used to meet all clients face-to-face appointments. Many of them would be after hours. Clients would struggle with traffic, and they'd be into it for 2 hours before they got home. And technology has gotten us to video applications and video meetings. And just like you, I send them all the pre-work that I've completed, and we do a WebEx meeting. And you can see each other, and you definitely feel each other. And we're done in about 45 minutes, all from the comfort of their home.
Exactly.
And it's so much more efficient. Yeah.
So much more efficient. I did a web call with somebody last night that's relocating here from Florida. Super nice. And they were barreling home and I'm like, you can be late. I'm at home anyway. And they could sit there and chat with me, and they were eating, and it was fine.
Yeah.
They needed to eat. And and it was casual, and you just make it all work now. It's so great. Why didn't we do this before, right?
It takes a pandemic to do that.
Yeah,
we were working on going paperless, because imagine the amount of paper that there is in the mortgage industry. It's unbelievable. And pandemic hit, we had to clear out of our offices, and in 3 days, our entire company went to paperless. And they had been working on this for months and just kept delaying it because it was so cumbersome. In 3 days, it was done.
You know what? When you're forced to do something, you make it work, right?
Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, I'm excited for 2021. It was a record-setting year for both of our industries, so I thought it'd be great for us to share kind of our thoughts on what's going to happen next year. If we had if we could look into the future, what is it going to be? And I have a few takeaways from this year that I feel will stay true for next year. So I'll start with one, and then Brian, you can chime in with your thoughts.
Awesome.
But the biggest thing with the real estate market has been the lack of inventory. It's a struggle for a home buyer to find that home, multiple bids, etc. And I feel that that's going to continue because of our refi boom. Either people are buying or they're reinvesting. They're either like, I'm going to move, or, well, I'm just going to stay and finish the basement and put in the pool and, do whatever. So that has done a few things. It's put buyers in the market. It's also kept sellers out of the market. So just even here in the fall, we have had 55% more showing activity compared to last fall. 55%. That's a lot. And we're flat on our new listings. So it's not that we have less listings, we have way more buyers in the market. So I just see this continuing next year. I don't see how our inventory segmentation is going to break by any means. So looking into next year, I give every home buyer not a scare test, but letting them know how we need to be very cat-like in our reflexes on the market, and telling our sellers that, of course, it's a great time to be a seller, but oftentimes those sellers are buyers too. So it kind of goes round table. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's funny because the media recently has been talking about home affordability and almost casting this doubt on home affordability because prices are going up.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely not correct whatsoever. We are at incredible home affordability levels right now, partially because interest rates are so low, payments are much lower. This is a great time to be looking at purchasing a house. The things that I look at in this market, if you think about wanting to live in the Midwest, it's hard to find any place better than Minneapolis because of the housing costs, the schools, just our natural environment that's so appealing in the Midwest. We're going to continue to see population growth here, and I think values are going to just continue to keep going up. We're not out of whack. So, we're typically seeing maybe 3 to 5% year over year appreciation, which is really, really stable and in line. So one of the key things for next year is home affordability. Absolutely. It's a great time to be buying.
Well, that's such a great comment, because we've all learned this year that the media is sensationalizing everything. Even like I see something zip across my phone about a COVID numbers from last week or something, and I'm like, I don't even know if I believe this. So when a consumer's out there thinking about entering the real estate market as either a buyer or seller, you might see that headline about affordability and go, forget it. No, I can't afford it. But they need to talk to someone like you that can break it down and simply say, it's actually more affordable because of rates, and there's a whole bunch of information that they need to know. It's like I think you need to look beyond. You got to talk to a professional. It's not just the sensationalized headlines anymore.
Another incredible thing for the next year for sure, and coming after that, the Feds are going to keep rates low. So the Feds are going to do everything they can to keep interest rates low. In the past, what they used to do is they would cut rates. So they would cut those short-term rates tied to Fed funds. But now what they're doing is they're going in and they're purchasing mortgage-backed securities. They're purchasing treasury bills. And what that does is that artificially keeps the rates down, because now they become a buyer, and the industry ends up dropping its rate when we have an oversupply of buyers. So they are literally pulling levers to make sure that we keep our interest rates low, because housing is such a huge stimulus for our economy.
Yep. Yeah, we learned that in the Great Recession, right? I mean, our industry tanked, and it brought down everything. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Also for next year, I'm seeing that, or I'm predicting that our condo sales are going to continue to decline. Not because of urban and maybe everybody's really wanting to go suburban, more because of the style of the structure of home. And when I say condo, I mean in a vertical building.
Yep.
So less are the conversations I'm having with clients about, I want to be in a big, huge high-rise with shared hallways and common rooms and elements like that. I'm hearing less of that. In 2019, we had about 3 months of supply of that kind of product in the market. We're already seeing about 6 months of supply of that in the market. I see that growing. I really do. I feel I'm a little concerned about the condo sales. I just don't see that kind of breaking for quite a while, until maybe a year or two from now.
Interesting point that you make towards that, because in the world of lending, a condo is considered riskier than a townhouse or a single family. And what a lot of buyers don't realize is you have a smaller buyer's pool. And as you know, if the market heads south at all, if there's any type of disruption, condos are the first to go to experience some sort of turbulence. So I think a lot of the general population is finding that there may want to be a sprawl to the suburbs, to get more space and get out of those confined buildings. But yeah, I totally agree with you.
Yeah, I see that kind of staying. So, also looking to next year, we're seeing some really amazing metrics about $1 million properties, $1 million plus. These are selling at a rate that we have never really even reported on in our MLS. So call it since 2001, when we really had good data. That really isn't that long ago, but it's kind of when we started to have some really good systems in place with our MLS here. We're seeing sales up 68% for $1 million plus homes compared to last year. 68%. Right, and that's only what's reported on the MLS. And Brian, you and I know well that sometimes that $1 million or $2 or $3 or $4 million lakeshore home is sold off market. There's a lot of pocket listings of those super desirable, unique, whether it be lakeshore, riverside, penthouse type stuff.
Yeah,
that's sold off the MLS. So we saw over 80 units sold just in November, just last month in our MLS. That's a lot.
Wow. Yeah, especially when you're in that price range, you'll get into seasons where they just sit and sit and sit, and to hear that you've got that much movement in that price range is pretty amazing. There's a lot of buildings south of the river, as you and I know. It's kind of crazy when you look at these new 2-story new constructions. 500,000 is, I don't want to call it entry level, but it's it's just amazing that I've seen a lot of young first-time home buyers who are kind of skipping that beginner home and just jumping right into that price range.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, it doesn't take much when you build on a desirable lot to get to $1 million. It really doesn't take too much, And I think, throwing it back into your industry, if I'm $1 million buyer, I'm wealthy, I feel confident in the market because I'm in a business that's thriving in this pandemic. This is the year to buy it because I can have a jumbo loan, get my minimum 20% down, and I'm in the mid threes.
Yeah. Oh, you're below that. You could actually, Amy, you could do 10% down, and you would probably be in the low threes. If you did 20% down, you'd be probably at 3 or a little bit lower.
Yeah.
So yeah, 10% down on a jumbo. Who would have thought?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, that's just motivating those people too, that maybe we're just going to wait. Again, they have to feel confidence in whatever their profession is or whatever time they are in their life. But I have a feeling that as an agent taking on that $1 million plus listing will not have long market times like it has in the past. So that's an amazing thing to say in our Twin Cities, which has a great affordability, right? I mean, you can get into a market, you can buy something in the twos, you can go further out, you can get home up into the millions. We have a great breadth of product here. And those $1 million homes are still selling at a rate that's unprecedented. Is really something about our market here.
Another thing to kind of peg off of that, we talked about it a couple weeks ago, but the conventional lending limits jumped up from 510 to 548, 250, which is a huge benefit to anyone, 500 and higher, because it allows those higher, mid-level priced homes. You could do 3% down on a much higher product and get great rates. So that's opening up more opportunity as well. One thing that we can do at Alerus as well, because we're a bank, we can do second mortgages, so we can get very creative in how we structure a transaction. And now that you can do the first at 548, we could do a home equity line of credit or a second mortgage as part of the down payment and jump them up higher with using 10% of their own and using 10% borrowed money for the rest of the down. So great opportunities next year.
So, and then on those seconds and on those credits, these are all fixed rates, right? These long gone are the days of things moving around, right?
Actually, you have multiple options. You could do a 20-year, 15-year, 10-year fixed. You could do a 5-year ARM. You could do interest-only home equity line of credit. So there are so many different products on that second mortgage. It kind of depends on the consultation to get the intent of the borrower. So if I have someone who has big bonus income that could come back later and knock down a second mortgage, we might put them in an interest-only home equity line of credit because the payment's really low. If someone doesn't have that opportunity, we'd go to a fixed second. So yeah, you've got a lot of different product to kind of customize based on the borrower.
That consultation's pretty important.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. Great. Well, I'm excited for next year. It's going to be fun. It's going to be better. We're nowhere on the other side of all of this. We don't want anybody else getting sick or being in a compromised situation, but hopefully we're on the mend. And as unfortunate as it is of what's happened in our world, our markets are doing well and will lead us out of this, kind of, we're in the front lines here.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. You think about how we felt back in March.
Yeah.
And where we are now being in this industry, because we really had no idea our home's going to be able to be sold. And great adaptation from the industry. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that was we were very lucky to be essential. There was 5-6 states that just, turned it off overnight. When you think about that, like not to be an expert on New York, but they shut down right away. And now all I hear is all these agents that everybody's going to Jersey, everybody's going to upstate. That has but then I'm not in that market to know exactly. Perhaps there's still a lot of excellent sales, but it really drove a lot of people out of the city.
Yeah, sure did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Well, we've had the wildest ride of our industries this year. For sure. To go from the rate environments to showings to no showings to 3 times as many showings as we're used to. There's never been ever a time where it's more important to have an agent advocating for you and a loan officer providing you with consultation prior to you even entering the market, because it is one that is uncontrollable, and you need that consultation as a buyer and a seller out there. So to those that are watching, Brian and us, we try to get together every couple weeks and give an update about the market. It's changing, and it's actually important for us to chat every couple weeks because it's changing that quickly. So if you are interested in getting into the market and want to chat with Brian or I, contact information is going to be below. You can always find us online as well. But we would love a chance to help you out and get you into your next property in 2021. Here we go.
Yes.
Cheers.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Christmas.
Yes. Merry Christmas, Brian. Thank you so much for your partnership, and I'll see you next year.
Thanks, Amy. Take care.
Right.
Bye now.
Bye.